sharing ko. Share. Hindi siya lumalabas. Alright, so
Okay na po, ma'am. Nakikita na po.
okay. Alright, so lahat kayo may ano nito? Lahat kayo may kopya, ano? Alright, number 1. So we'll discuss the correct answers of this then. Number 1. So the following are sizing materials that may be added to paper. Which among them gives a blue color when tested with a few drops of iodine solution? Anyone? Alam nyo ba ang sagot dito? Okay, the answer is starch. Okay. So starch ang sagot dyan because starch, which is used as a sizing material in paper, is usually tested with iodine solution. So yung ating rosin, ang test reagent niyan is ether. Okay. So you can write it down. The test reagent for rosin is ether. Then casein is Million's reagent. And then gelatin is tannic acid. Okay, so the answer is starch. Next, number 2, in burning or ignition test, which fiber does not burn? Okay, so in-explain ko sa inyo nung nakaraan yan eh. So, among these is the correct answer is mineral fiber. So, ang example kasi ng mineral fiber is the asbestos, if you can still recall that. So, burning test or ignition test is a preliminary test which is used to identify the general classification of these fibers. So, ang animal fiber kasi nasusunog yan, no? Then vegetable fiber nasusunog din yan. So, the synthetic sa artificial fiber yan. So, i-discard niyo yung synthetic fiber dyan kasi the burning test and the ignition test is only to determine the natural group of fibers, the animal, the vegetable, and mineral. So, ang hindi nasusunog dyan sa tatlong yan is the mineral fiber. Then number 3, okay. The following are purposes of hair examination. Okay, except, okay, first, letter A, to determine whether the questioned hair originated from animal or human hair. Okay. Then letter B, to determine whether there was a contact between 2 or more individuals. Letter C, to determine whether an individual caused a contact to an object in question. Then letter D, to determine the cause of the death of the victim. Ano sa tingin nyo ang sagot dyan? Anyone? It's the last. Kasi yung letter A, so through microscopic examination, we can be able to determine whether hair samples originated from animals or human origin. So, remember our discussion about the shaft, which is the most distinctive part of the hair. So, yung shaft, kasi nandun lahat yung examinations, and the examination is conducted through microscopic examination. Okay. So, yung letter B, so bakit may hair samples doon sa crime scene? So, when there was a contact between 2 or more individuals, precisely, merong mga hair strands doon sa crime scene. Okay? So, this is the purpose. In order to determine whether there was a contact between between 2 or more individuals in the crime scene, so merong mga buhok doon. So, that's one purpose. The letter C, to determine whether an object caused a contact to an object an individual cause a contact to an object in question. So, ang example ko sa inyo noon dyan is, let's say, hammer, no? So, hammer, limbawa na ginamit doon sa, which is used to inflict the injury to the victim. So, there are times that there are hair strands which are found clinging into that object. So, this is one way, no? So there is a possibility that hair samples are found on those objects which are left in the crime scene. So yung first three kasama yan sa purpose ng hair examination. So the only exception there is the cause of the death of the victim. Okay. Then number 4. So it is the innermost part of the hair. So we have the medulla, cortex, cuticle, and then root. So hindi na slash nyo na yung root dyan kasi root is an anatomical parts of the hair, di ba? So ang pinaka part ng shaft dyan is we have the medulla, the cortex, and cuticle. So we all know that cuticle is found on the outermost, tapos cortex is the intermediate layer. So ang pinaka innermost part ng hair dyan is the medulla. The number 5, so a black coarsely peppered pattern observed around the gunshot wound. So peppered means paminta. Okay? Pepper. So it's tattooing. Kasi ang smudge is, kalat yung smudge eh. Carbon color is color mismo doon sa gunshot wound yung carbon color. Then singeing is burning. So our answer for number 5 is tattooing. Tattoo. Parang coarsely peppered, parang mga paminta na nandoon sa paligid ng gunshot wound. Then number 6, fiber, which is made up of protein. Okay, so that is animal fiber. Ang pagpipilian lang natin dyan, class, is vegetable and animal eh. So pag protein, it is animal, syempre. Ang vegetable, wala namang protein ang vegetable, di ba? So, or most vegetables do not consist of the protein. So ang pinakasagot natin dyan is animal. Okay, number 7. Which of the following emits a bluish fluorescence under the UV light? All right. So, fluorescence test is, its purpose is to determine whether a fiber is animal or vegetable. Okay, so ang vegetable together with those artificial fibers, no? Ang vegetable kasi yellowish fluorescence. Ang animal fiber is we have bluish fluorescence. Nylon, linen, they do not emit a specific color of the bluish fluorescence or hindi siya specific na bluish ang fluorescence niyan. So, it's only animal fiber. And since ang ating choice is wool, so naka-underline na dyan, nakalimutan ko tanggalin yan. So wool is the answer there because wool belongs to the animal group of fibers. Okay, number 8. Ayan. The following can be determined in microscopic examination for hair except, okay, first, the region from which the hair has been removed. So using microscopic examination ba, malalaman natin kung saan part ng katawan natin galing yung hair? Yes. Okay, so kasama yan sa microscopic examination. How the hair was removed, whether naturally or forcibly. Okay, so we can be able to determine that using microscopic examination. So kasama yan. Whether the hair was cut with a dull or sharp instrument or was burned or crushed. Kasama yan. So those are the microscopic examinations which are conducted in hair. The approximate age of the person who owns the hair. Okay, so among these, no, ang pinaka-least na exception dito is yung huli. Because the approximate age of the person who owns the paper can be determined using chemical tests. So yung first three, these are all determined using microscopic examination. Tapos yung approximate age of the person who owns the hair, ang pinaka-test na gagamitin dyan is we have chemical test. Yes, Miss Romina, are you raising your hand? May nagre-raise ng hand, Miss Romina. Hello? Okay, how about number 9? MI is medullary index. Okay. The medullary index of a specimen submitted for analysis is 0.423. So this means that it came from, okay, so saan galing yan? Is it cow, human, horse, carabao? Yes, Jobert, Aliligay. Anong sagot niyan? Number 9. Nagre-raise kayo ng kamay. Alam niyo yung sagot yan? Ditilyain. Hello? Hindi ko naman kayo naririnig. You can open your... hindi nyo na-open yung mic nyo. You can chat. Meron kayong chat? Tingnan natin. Okay, human. Yes. Okay, so human, no? Because in our discussion last time, so most animals, no, mostly animals, palalagyan natin ng check. I-ano ko na lang, i-underline ko na lang. Okay, underline ko. Ayun. Okay. Ayan. Number 7, balikan natin si number 7. Ayan o, naka-underline na wool. Okay. All right. Number 10, which of the following is the most conclusive test for fibers? Okay, burning, preliminary lang yan. Fluorescence is another preliminary. Chemical test, supplementary test lang yan. So we have microscopic. So why microscopic? Microscopic is the most conclusive because microscopic can be able to identify the specific characteristics of the different fibers. So like for example, we have cotton. Ano itsura ng cotton? Ayun na, si number 11. Okay, so it's only the microscopic test, no, which can conclusively identify or specifically identify the different fibers. That's why it is referred as the most conclusive. So just like number 11, that's one application of the microscopic test. So under the microscope, it is a fiber that appears like a flat ribbon-like twisted spiral left or right on its axis. So this is cotton. Okay, number 11 is cotton. Ang wool naman is, it consists of parang epidermal scales. Tapos ang linen para siyang glass rod. Alam niyo yung glass rod na makintab, yung panghalo sa laboratory. Then hair. So sa hair, we can see the cuticle, we can see the medullary index. Kasi fiber is considered as an animal fiber, di ba? Okay, so ang sagot dyan is cotton. Right? Number 12. Yan. So, binaliktad lang natin yan. What is the MI of a hair specimen if the diameter is 1.2 and the diameter of its medulla is 0.5? Anong sagot dito? Anong gagawin nyo dyan? Binigay ko sa inyo yung binigay ko sa inyo yung formula niyan dati, MI equals diameter of medulla divided by diameter of the whole hair. So, what will you do there? So, 0.5 divided by 1.2. So, para makuha nyo yung MI niya, mag-compute nga kayo. Anong sagot? I myself, hindi ko ano yan. So, 0.5 divided by 1.2. So, that's 0.41667. So, 0.42. Okay? So, the answer is 0.42. All you have to do there is to divide. Ayan. Number 13. The part of the shaft where the pigment granules are found. Ano sagot? Alam niyo to? Tingnan natin sa chat box. Okay. Letter A, yes. Okay, letter A. Alpha, ang sagot. Part of the shaft where the pigment granules are found is in the cortex. Kasi yun yung pinaka, it is the thickest. Why cortex? The cortex is the thickest, no? Part of the shaft, no? So that's the reason why yung chemical component na nagbibigay ng kulay ng buhok is nandito sa cortex. Okay. Now, how about number 14? Number 14, which of the following is not a characteristic of human hair? MI is less than 0.5. Kasi pag more than 0.5 sa animal yan, pigment granules are fine. Medulla is always present. Scale pattern overlaps up to 4/5. Okay, our answer here is letter C. Okay, so eto. Medulla is always present. So, that is not a characteristic kasi human hair does not always contain the medulla. Minsan walang medulla, minsan meron. Okay? It's not always present. 0.5, so less than 0.5. So, human hair yan. Kasi pag more than 0.5, it's already animal. Then, pigment granules are fine, coarse sa animal. Ang scale pattern ng animals less than half. Okay. Medulla is always present sa animal yan. So, ang medulla kasi hindi laging naroon sa animal sa human hair. Okay, next. Number 15. Oh, more on here pala to. So, root, tip, and shaft are the anatomical parts of the hair. Which of them is the most distinctive? So, ano ibig sabihin ng most distinctive? Yung pinaka-importante sa part ng hair. So, the answer class is shaft. Okay, why shaft? Kasi yung shaft, nandyan yung ating medulla, nandyan yung ating cortex, nandyan yung ating cuticle. So, all of these can be identified, especially the origin of the hair, whether that came from human or animal hair. So, it is the shaft that will tell us kung saan nag-originate ang hair. So, most distinctive means the most important part of the hair. Number 16, a piece of physical evidence which is very resistant to decomposition and putrefaction. Who can answer that? Sa chat box. Okay, hair. Yes, hair. Kasi ang fingerprint nasisira. Ang bones natin, nadudurog din yan. Ang blood lalo, madaling masira. So our answer is hair. Hair. Hindi blood. Anong ibig sabihin kasi na very resistant? Ibig sabihin it will resist from decomposition and putrefaction. Hindi ibig sabihin na hindi siya nabubulok. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng word. So it's just a matter of understanding the term there para malaman nyo kung ano yung tamang sagot. Kung ang tanong is a piece of physical evidence which is very prone to decomposition, definitely ang sagot nyo ay blood. Kung prone yan, Resistant yan eh. Ibig sabihin, it resists from decomposition. So, resistant. Ibig sabihin, hindi nabubulok. Pero kung prone yung sagot dyan, or prone yung word dyan, so, precisely, ang sagot nyo is blood. Okay? So, intindihin nyo yung mga tanong, mga anak. Number 17. It is the blackening of area around the bullet perforation. Anong sagot? Letter? Okay, A. O, magaling kayo, papasa kayo sa board exam niyan. Okay, so sagot is letter A. Ayan. Next. Number 18. Ayan, situational question. Gaping hole, singeing, smudging, and tattooing are the characteristic patterns observed on a gunshot wound on the clothing of the victim submitted for distance determination or GSR. What is the probable distance of the shooter to the victim? Lahat ng characteristic patterns ay naroroon. What's the answer? Letter? Okay, 0 to 2. Ayan, nakukuha ng iba. So, our answer here is 0 to 2. Kasi lahat ng characteristic patterns, makikita natin dito. Okay? Pag beyond 36, can you still see any characteristic patterns? Meron pa ba tayong characteristic patterns pag beyond 36? Meron, wala. Wala na. No, almost gone na yan. How about 2 to 8? Pag 2 to 8, ano yung nakikita nating characteristic pattern? Sige nga, type niyo yung sagot nyo dito. So that's one way of reviewing already. Baka mamaya hindi lang yan yung question na nakuha nyo. Pag 2 to 8, ano yung mga characteristic patterns? Smudging and tattooing. Dalawa. Okay? So pag 2 to 8, ang characteristic patterns na makikita nyo, smudging and tattooing. Pag 2 to 36, tattooing lang. Okay? O, yun yung tandaan nyo dyan sa apat na yan. Beyond 36, wala. Almost gone yung mga characteristic patterns. 2 to 8, smudging and tattooing. Pag 2 to 36, tattooing na lang. Or that should be 8 to 36. Ayusin natin ha. Pero minsan sa question natin is 8 to 36 yan. At 2 to 36. Pag gawin natin 8 to 36 yan. Alright. Number 19. Which of the following are classifications of explosives according to composition and structure? Sagot. Wala? Okay, it's letter A. Yes, letter A. Ayun, may nakakuha. So, organic and inorganic explosives. Kasi yan yung non-carbon containing explosives is the hydrocarbon containing explosives. So, yan. So, yung industrial according to design. Military according to design. High explosive functioning characteristics yan. So, organic and inorganic explosives. Okay, next, number 20, a kind of explosive that detonates or explodes when heated or subjected to shock, heat, friction, and impact. Maalog konti, pero hindi siya nasusunog. When heated or subjected to shock, yun lang yung ano nyo dyan eh. Yun lang yung pinaka-keyword nyo dyan. The answer is, okay, letter primary and initiating explosives. Okay, so initiators, primary and initiating explosives. Low explosives. Tama. Okay, so primary explosives yan. Kasi low explosives burns and then producing oxygen. Sa high explosives, sobrang bilis naman niya. Okay, it's primary and initiating explosive. Lagyan natin. Balikan natin to ha. Lagyan natin ng sagot. Need nyo talaga yung sagot. Okay, eto. Okay. Number 21. Yan. Nasabi ko na kanina to, when the firearm is discharged at a distance of 2 to 8 inches from the body of the victim, what are the characteristics or characteristic patterns observed? Nasagot niyo na to kanina. So it is smudging and tattooing. So 2 to 8 yan. How about number 22? The following are some examples of military explosives except, ano sagot? Oh, dyan pa lang sa mga choices, malalaman niyo na kung anong sagot niyan. Letter C, yes. Kasi letter C is used as an industrial explosive yan eh. Okay. So grenades, military explosive yan. Rockets and missiles, military explosive. Airdrops, military. So ang ano dyan, ang exception na lang dyan is the ammonium nitrate. Okay. So kasi ito, this is classified. Although it is classified as a high explosive. So according to design, it is considered as an industrial explosive. 23, the following are factors to be considered in the interpretation of the DPA test or DPA paraffin test, except what? Number or time of reaction. B, number of blue specks. Letter C, location and character of the blue specks. And then letter D, color reaction. Ang pinaka-least na sagot dyan, guys, is letter D. Kasi meron na tayong blue specks dito, nag-redundant na eh. So meron tayong number of specks, we have location and character of the blue specks. So ang pinaka-exception dito is the color reaction. Alright. Number 24. What specimen or evidence is usually submitted in the determination of GSR or distance determination? A, both hands of the suspect. B, firearm. C, clothing of the victim. Letter D, all of the choices. Anong sagot niyo? Okay, may sumagot. Oh, nakakita lang kayo na letter D. Letter D agad ang kinuha nyo. Hindi po. It is the clothing of the victim. Kasi GSR yan eh. Oh, bakit yan ang sagot? Diba pag both hands of the suspect, ang problema natin dito is to determine whether a person is positive or not with nitrate residue. So DPA paraffin test yan. Tas firearm, this is approximate time of firing of the gun. Tas clothing of the victim, this is determined microscopically for the GSR or the gunshot range or distance determination. So clothing of the victim, hindi lahat. Nakita lang kayo na all of the choices, yun na nakuha nyo. Number 25. Yan. Which of the following is the correct percent composition of black powder? Alin dyan ang sagot? 75%. Letter A, letter B, letter C, letter D. Anong sagot? It's letter B. Okay, letter B as in boy. Ayan. Ayaw. Okay. How about number 26? The alleged shooter must be subjected for the DPA paraffin test within how many hours? Sagot. Ano sagot niyan, guys? Letter B. Yan. So, nakuha niyo yun. Letter B. How about number 27? As representative head hair samples, how many strands are to be collected and submitted? Diniscuss ko sa inyo nakaraan yun. 12 strands. Head hair samples, 6 strands. No definite number of strands. 3 strands. Anong sinabi ko sa inyo nakaraan? Who can answer that? Okay, Okay, 12 strands. Letter A. Kasi pag 6 strands, dito sa baba. Sa 3 strands yung sa facial part natin. So, 12 strands head hair. Okay, scalp hair ito. Ayan. Mga random questions yan. Okay, next. The process of partitioning a sample between the liquid phase, which is the solvent, and the solid phase, which is the paper. Sagot. Letter. Okay, paper chromatography. Ayan. So, ballpoint pen ink yan eh. It's applied to the analysis of ballpoint pen ink. Question document yan, di ba? Alright. 29. It does not allow light to pass through. Ang pagpipilian nyo lang dyan, yung dalawa eh. Cross nyo na tong gloss tsaka texture, di ba? Ano sagot? Okay, letter? Ayan, letter B. Translucency, it allows light. Main component of paper. So, watermark, hindi kasama yan kasi design yan. O, alin sa tatlo? It's the letter A. Okay, so letter A. Marurunong na Sir Incad to mga estudyante mo, papasa na lahat to. A test to determine the fiber, the loading, and the sizing composition of paper. Ano sagot? Letter. Ang sagot dyan? Letter A. Okay, chemical. So, chemical test ang tawag dito. Okay, physical eh. Ano lang naman yan eh. It's all about the color, odor, ganyan yung physical test. Spectrographic, instrumental method yan. Microscopic is to see for the presence of imperfections, ganyan yan. So, in order for us to determine the fiber, the loading, and the sizing compositions of paper, we have to apply the chemical test. So, chemically, malalaman natin kung ano yung nilalaman ng paper natin. Anong klaseng fiber ang ginamit dyan? Anong klaseng sizing material ang ginamit dyan? Tsaka anong loading material ang meron dyan? So, it's the chemical test. 32. The obscuring of writing by superimposing ink or any marking material. Sulat, pinatungan pa ng iba pang sulat or pinatungan ng ibang ink. It is okay, letter C. All right. So, obliterated writing. Kasi invisible, secret yun eh. Hindi natin nakikita yun. Indented is yung ano yun, yung nabakat yung indented. Contact writing, mga unnecessary writings yan. Okay. How about number 33? O yan, nandun kanina sa taas yan. It is for a reliable test for ballpoint pen ink. It is paper chromatography. Nabaliktad lang yung question dyan. Okay, next, the black deposit on the periphery of the gunshot wound. Is it carbon color, tattooing, smudging, or singeing? Letter, naku, hindi niya nakuha. Letter A ang sagot. Black deposit dun sa mismong pinaka-gunshot hole. It is carbon color. Meron na tayong tattooing, parang paminta. Peppered pattern, ang pinaka-keyword nyo sa tattooing, smudging, blackening, ang ano nyo dyan. Okay, ang tattooing is peppered pattern. Ang smudging, blackening. So, yung black deposit, so, is we have a carbon color. Singeing, burn yan eh. Okay, next. Is it always possible to determine gunshot range? No, especially if the distance already beyond 36 inches. Yes, when the distance is very far. No, especially if the distance is at contact up to 24 inches. Yes, when the victim is close. What's the answer? Okay, A. Okay, kasi it is not always possible to determine gunshot range, especially if the distance is already beyond 36 inches kasi wala na tayong nakikitang characteristic pattern doon eh, di ba? So, ito yung sagot yan. It is not always. Pero kung ang tanong ay, is it always? Siyempre naman. Pag wala yung always, is it possible? Limbawa, if the question is it possible to determine gunshot range? Yes ang sagot. Pero nakalagay kasi dyan always. Eh, hindi naman sa lahat ng pagkakataon malalaman natin yung gunshot range. Kasi kung beyond 36 inches na yan, wala na tayong makikitang characteristic patterns eh. So, it's not always. So, yun yung sagot. Letter. Bakit natanggal? So, it's letter A. Next. The positive result of the DPA paraffin test. Deep blue specks on the dorsal aspects of the hands. Deep blue specks found both on the dorsal and palmar aspects of the hands. Deep blue specks found on the fingers, 5 fingers of the hands. Deep blue conglomeration on the dorsal aspects of the hands. What's the best answer here? Letter? Okay. May sumagot ba? Okay, letter A. Ayan. So, letter A. Kasi pag both dorsal and palmar, ibig sabihin hindi galing sa residue yan within the skin. Galing sa ibang, nitrate residues. 37. Concentric fractures are also called. Okay, A, secondary. Wala nang sumasagot yata. So, secondary fractures. Then radial, primary, syempre. Yan yung unang tumatama. Ay, yun yung unang nagka-crack sa, sa glass. So, radial fractures are also known as primary fractures. Okay, how about number 39? What's the answer? The purpose of the DPA paraffin test determines whether or not a person fired a gun with his bare hands, determines gunshot range, determines the approximate time of firing of the gun, determines the caliber of the gun used. Anong sagot? Letter? Okay, A. Tagal natin na, 185 pa naman to. Bakit? Last 12 tayo. Kaya? Now what? Katatapos ng klase ko kanina eh. Wait lang. 5. Ba't nasama siya? Okay. 40. Anong sagot dyan? Glass is a supercooled liquid which possesses high A, viscosity and rigidity, B, fluidity and viscosity. Oh, nabaliktad lang to. Viscosity and luminosity. What's the answer? Letter? Okay, A. Okay, letter A. Viscosity and rigidity. Okay, next. If a forensic chemist wants to determine whether hair is naturally fallen or forcibly pulled, which part of the hair will he examine? Sagot? Okay, may sumagot. It is the O. Okay, root. Ayan. Okay, root ang sagot. May sumagot na letter B. It's not. It's the root. Okay, microscopic examination pa rin ang gagamitin natin dyan. Okay, a fracture caused by a projectile has a shape of what? Is it spoke of a wheel, cobweb-like shape, a cone or crater-like or wave shape? Letter? Wala. Nanghula na lang kayo mga anak. It's letter C. Okay. So, cone or crater-like. Pag projectile kasi yan, no? We cannot see any radial and concentric cracks. Spoke of a wheel, ano yun? Ayun na. Ito na siya. Kaya fracture resembling a spoke of a wheel. So yung ganyan, pabilog ng ganyan, it is the concentric. Okay, so our answer here is concentric. Pag may point of impact kasi yan, tapos medyo mabagal yung speed nung pressure, when the pressure which is applied to a glass pane is with a lower speed, so there will be some fractures which will be observed on the glass pane. Okay, so anong klaseng fractures yun? Ito yung concentric natin sa radial cracks. Okay. Next, exhibits a regular pattern of the radial and concentric cracks. Ito na yung sa causes of the cause of the fracture. Is it fresh fracture, fracture caused by heat, an old fracture, or fracture caused by a projectile? Okay. The answer here is fresh fracture. Kasi ang pagpipilian lang naman natin dyan is fresh tsaka old fracture eh. Ang old fracture kasi natin may mga extension lines. Diba? Naalala niyo yung discussion natin last time? Pag old yung fracture natin, may mga extension lines yan. Pero kung regular lang yung patterns ng ating radial and concentric, ibig sabihin fresh fracture yon. Okay, so yun lang yung pagpipili natin whether it's fresh or old fracture. Okay, how about number 45? Ano sagot? The main component of glass. Letter? Okay, silica. Yes, letter B. Or minsan, baka mamaya makita nyo sa choices natin is silicon dioxide. They just mean the same thing, ha? Pag silicon dioxide na nakita nyo, yun yung sagot. Okay, so cobweb-like structure is the concentric crack. Okay, yung paganyan na ano ba ito? Ay, sorry. Ito, nalito ako dito. This is not the answer. Bakit na ano? Spoke of a wheel is yung pahaba. Okay, so it's radial. Ako nalito doon. Okay, yung pahaba ng ganyan, no? extending outward from the point of impact. So yung point of impact natin, halimbawa, point of impact natin is dito sa side na to, magbe-bend ng ganyan yung papel, tapos dito sa likod, magkakaroon ng mga pahaba na lines. So those are the radial fractures. Okay, tapos pagka, di ba, sabi ko sa inyo noon, pagka yan, halimbawa, ito yung glass natin, tapos nag-bend ng ganyan. Okay, pagka na-reach na niya yung stretching limit niya at bumalik na naman, nag-straighten ng ganyan ulit yan, saka pala magkakaroon ng pabilog na na fracture. So, we call that as the concentric naman. Okay, which is the secondary. So, ito yung huling fracture na nakikreate doon sa, what do you call this? Dito sa ating glass pane. Nangyari dito. Cobweb-like structure. Ayan. All right. Number 47. When there is an even distribution of flakes around the gunshot hole in a glass pane, what is the position of the gunman? A, the gunman is perpendicular to the glass. B, the gunman is at the left side of the glass. C, the gunman is at the right side of the glass. D, the gunman is at the back or rear side of the glass. Answer. Okay, si number last. Okay, letter A. Ayun. So, mga situational questions kasi ito. Di-discuss ko sa inyo pati ito. Okay, so it's perpendicular. So, even yung flakings. How about this one? Plastic which is found in between two pieces of glasses, laminated together. Ah, nakalagay na. So, laminated. Sinabi ko na. Okay, or this is known as, ano sagot? Laminated. Ano yung other term for laminated? Anyone? May nakakaalam? What's the other term for laminated? Anyone? It's not. Other term for, ano yung other term for laminated glass? Laminated glass or, that is, lacerated. Lacerated, ano yung sugat yung lacerated? Tinted, hindi. Tinted is darkened yan. It is safety glass. Mamaya, safety glass, makita nyo dyan. Safety. Iba ang tempered. Tampered. Iba ang tempered sa tampered. Ang tampered is pinalitan. Ang tempered, it is para sa glass yun. Iba yung tempered glass. Tempered glass is glass which is heated at a very, very high temperature, which make it durable or stronger than that of the soda lime glass. Nalala niyo yung discussion natin na nakaraan? So laminated, the other term for laminated glass is safety glass. Okay. A test that determines the type of the pattern of the glass. Is it fluorescence, X-ray diffraction, spectrographic, or polish marks examination? Sagot. Number 6. Tingnan natin. May unang sumagot. Okay, letter. Type of pattern of glass, X-ray diffraction. Spectrographic is trace elements. Oh. Okay. So, ang spectrographic natin, trace elements, ito, number 15 natin yan. So, ang number 15 natin, that is done using the spectrographic analysis. So, trace elements yan. Yan. Okay, baka pagpalitin nyo, nagpalit na nga. So, type of pattern kasi, what is to be determined here is the composition. The type of the pattern of the glass will determine the composition of the glass. Yung spectrographic, it is the trace elements. O yun lang yun naman yung keyword nyo yan. Trace elements, spectrographic. 51. The following statements are correct except, okay, letter A. Each item collected at the crime scene must be placed in a container. Letter B. An airtight container is used as a packaging material for blood-stained clothing. Collection of question specimens is always accompanied by a standard specimen. Collection of physical evidence can be done by a specialized or a trained police investigators like the SOCO team. O alin dyan ang statement na mali? Tingnan natin, maraming sumagot. Okay, let's hear. Okay, letter. Nako, wala na. Walang tumama. It's letter A. Letter B, I should say. An airtight. Hindi tayo pwedeng gumamit ng airtight container. Exception nga eh. Okay, eto yung sagot dyan. Intindihin nyo yung mga tanong, mga anak. Each item collected at the crime scene must be placed. Siyempre, lalagay yun sa container yan. Tapos yung ang contradicting dyan sa question letter B is airtight. Kasi pag blood-stained clothing, hindi mo pwedeng ilagay sa airtight container yan. Why? Okay? We cannot use the airtight container kasi nga magmo-moist yung clothing. No? So mabubulok yan pag airtight. Dapat nahahanginan yung loob. Okay? Yung letter C naman, di ba ganon? Question specimen is always accompanied by standard specimen. Bakit kailangan natin ng standard specimen? For comparative examination. So magiging useless. Limbawa, blood yan. Meron tayong mga question blood or question specimens na collect sa crime scene. Wala tayong kinuhang standard specimen. So usually, kanino galing yung standard specimen? Sa victim o kaya sa suspect. So kung hindi tayo kumuha ng blood sa victim, wala tayong gagamitin for comparative examination. So magiging useless yung mga blood stains na kinuha natin sa crime scene. Wala tayong mapagkukumparahan eh. Okay, so tama yung letter C na statement. Kasi ang question is, the following statements are correct except. Okay? Tapos letter D, collection of physical evidence can be done by a specialized or a trained police investigator. Sino to mga to? Mga SOCO. Sino ba nagko-collect ng evidence? SOCO. Kaya your letter D statement is very, very correct. Okay? So, yung letter B ang incorrect dyan. Kasi hindi tayo pwede maglagay ng blood-stained clothing sa airtight container. Kailangan may pumapasok pa rin na hangin. So, like for example, what is the ideal container for blood-stained clothing? Hindi tayo pwedeng gumamit ng ziplock, kundi paper bag lang. Okay, para pumasok pa rin yung hangin. Number 52. A chemical examination for semen that produces a red-orange pigmentation. May sumasagot ba dito? Wala. Okay, it's acid phosphatase test. Ayan. Number 53. If blood stains, bakit mali ito? Oh, dapat one word lang. If blood stains in different areas of the crime scene are collected and packed separately, what best guiding principle is applicable? Alin sa tingin nyo? Letter? Okay, may sumagot. Letter? They are being packed separately. Is it sufficiency of samples? Is it maintenance of individuality? Is it labeling and sealing? Standard for comparison. Oh, you can read between the lines eh. So, ang sagot, letter B. Okay, individuality. Maintenance of individuality yan. Okay, collect and pack separately. So, separation. There should be a separation of blood stains, no? Coming from the different areas of the crime scene. So, maintenance of individuality ang sagot. Alright, number 54. If a blood stain is positive with A cells, okay, so positive siya sa A cells, and then negative siya sa B cells, A. What is the blood group? O anong technique ang gagamitin nyo dito? Is it direct or indirect? Remember, we are dealing with a blood stain. Oh, positive daw siya sa A cells, negative siya sa B cells. What will be the blood group? Okay, letter D ang sagot. Okay. Kung saan siya negative, yun yung blood group. Kasi indirect technique yan. Bakit indirect technique? Kasi blood stain yan, no? Pero kung ang statement natin is the blood of the victim, hindi naka-indicate na blood stain, what you're going to use is the direct technique. Pero since blood stain yan, sa indirect, kung saan siya negative, yun yung blood group niya. So, the answer there is group B. Negative. Okay. Letter D. Okay, dito, maintenance of individuality. Okay. Next. The following are characteristics of a seminal stain, except, okay, appears like an outline of a contour map. Tama. Diba? Pag natuyo ang semen sa underwear, para siyang mapa. It gives a stiff, starchy feeling to the cloth. Tumitigas yung part kung saan merong seminal stain. Tama. It has a grayish, white, or yellowish stain. Tama. O letter C ang sagot. Letter D, I should say, yellowish. Hindi siya yellowish, bluish yan. Okay. So, it emits, kung bluish yan, tamang sagot yun. So, exception to kasi, seminal stain emits a bluish fluorescence under the UV light. Okay, number 56. Ano sagot dyan? Madali lang yan. The formation of a white ring or line of precipitate at the zone of contact of the two liquids in human blood is determined by this test or by which test? Ano sagot? Okay, letter A. Okay, precipitin. Precipitate. Ayan yung keyword nyo, oh. Precipitate, precipitin. Kuha nyo? O, yun ang pinaka-keyword nyo dyan. Yan lang yung tatandaan nyo dyan. Precipitate means formation of a solid. Precipitin, ibig sabihin may solid. Okay. Examination is best employed in the determination of the presence of spermatozoa in semen. Ano sagot? Microscopic, biological, chemical, physical. Criminalistic subject po ba to? Yes, forensic chemistry to. Okay, microscopic. Ayan. Letter
Microscopic, anak, hindi letter B, it's letter A. Ito naman siguro, alam niyo na yan. Bonus question. Sagot. Okay, A. So it's documentary. Land titles, birth certificates, transcript of records are what form of scientific? So it is documentary. Testimonial statement yan. Real or autoptic, an example ng real or autoptic, yung mga objects na like knife, mga ganyan, mga firearm. Alright, number 59. When a blood stain is collected on the shirt of a suspect has matched with the blood of the victim, what kind of evidence is it? Is it circumstantial, direct, hearsay, scientific? Okay, may sumagot. Letter. Okay, it's letter A. So that's circumstantial. Yan yung pinaka-example ko sa inyo dati, di ba? Okay. It is defined as a proof of allegation. O, evidence, alam niyo na yun. Ano to eh? Bonus question. Ayan. The following are the role of a forensic chemist except. O ano ang hindi trabaho ng chemist dyan? O, alin na hindi? Letter? Okay, letter B. Tama. Okay, identification of explosive ingredients. So that's one role of a forensic chemist. Conducts examination of whether a location is a clandestine lab. So secret lab, example ng clandestine lab, mga paggawaan ng shabu, ganyan. Ginagawang storage para sa mga nakaw na mga sasakyan, ganyan. Okay, alcohol concentration. Okay, dead body. Sino may gawa nito? Kaninong role to? Medical legal officer. Sa exception to. Excuse me guys lang. Okay, next. Which does not belong to the group? Alin dyan na hindi kasama dyan? At bakit hindi siya kasama? Answer? May sumagot. Okay, letter. Yes, letter D. Bakit letter D ang sagot dyan? Kasi itong red blood cells, white blood cells, blood platelets, these are the solid materials which are the component of blood. Tapos ito, it's the only liquid. Okay, so ito yung exception. Although all of these are components of blood, so ito yung pinaka hindi kasama dyan kasi yung lahat ay puro solid, siya lang yung liquid. Excuse me guys. 63. Anong order ang tama dyan? The chronological order in the tests for blood. Okay, may mga sumagot. Let us see our answer. Letter. Okay, letter A. Ayan. So, letter A. Okay, syempre, mauuna si preliminary. Okay, because preliminary will tell us, no, is it an alleged blood stain? Kaya nga preliminary, meaning first stage. And then, nag-positive yung blood sa preliminary. Ano next? Iko-confirm mo yan. So, pag na-confirm mo na yan, saka mo palang malalaman, no? If it is human or animal blood, so this is the precipitin. Tapos kung human blood yan, what is the blood group? So, yan yung pinaka chronological order. Alright, how about number 60? But the double 60? Okay. 64. If blood stains are found on large immovable objects like walls, floor, doors, what is the best method used in the collection? Okay, maraming sumagot. Tignan natin. Okay, it's done by, okay, letter A. Okay, scraping yan, guys. Ang swabbing is pagka, okay. So, scraping ang sagot. Ano ang sinuswab? Yan, nalito na kayo dyan. So, this is done by scraping. You have to scrape that with the use of knife or a clean knife or a razor blade. Pag swabbing naman, swabbing can be applied when the blood stains are found on smooth or glazed objects like window glass, tiles, ganyan, car, no, on top of cars. Yan, ang ginagawa dyan by swabbing. Pero kung nasa floor yan, especially kung cemented yung floor natin, nasa pader natin, okay, the method of removing that is by scraping. All right, number 65. If blood stains are found on movable objects like hammer and knives, who is the ideal person to collect the stain? Anyone? Sino ang kukuha ng mga hammer and blood stains yan? If blood stains are found on movable objects like hammer and knives, hammers and knives, who is the ideal person to collect the stain? Natin ang sagot. Okay, letter. Hindi police investigator. Yan is the forensic chemist. Ang trabaho, okay, intindihin nyo yung tanong. Ang trabaho ng police investigator is to collect that hammer or the knife. Okay, if blood stains are found on movable objects, who is the ideal person to collect the stain? So yung stain, sino daw magko-collect? So pakinggan nyo maigi or intindihin nyo maigi. Pero kung ang tanong is, who is the ideal person to collect the hammer? Siyempre, police investigator. So depende sa bagsak ng tanong yan, guys. So since we are talking about the blood stains, and anyway, these objects are movable. So ang trabaho ng police investigator dyan or the SOCO team is to collect that hammer. Wala siyang karapatang magtanggal ng blood stain doon. Anyway, that object is movable. Okay? Pwedeng i-transport sa laboratory. So, it's no longer the work of the police investigator to collect the blood stain. It's the work of the forensic chemist. Ang dami nalito dito. Ang mangongolekta sa hammer, si police investigator. Pero yung stain na nandun sa hammer, si forensic chemist. Alright. O, ito naman siguro alam nyo na. O, anong sagot? Okay. So, number 60, 66 yun. Is letter A. Okay. 67. Red blood cells agglutinated or positive with anti-A but not with anti-B. What is the blood group? Okay, red blood cells. Ano to? Is it fresh or an old blood? Ano sagot natin? Okay, fresh. So, anong sagot natin? Group positive with anti-A. Okay, so group A, syempre. Direct technique, kung saan siya nag-positive, yun ang blood group. Okay, so depende lang sa bagsak ng tanong yan eh. Alright, a group O child could not be produced by which pair of parents? Alin dyan ang pwede ang hindi makapag-produce ng group O? Is it A? Is it B? Is it C or D? Answer is letter. Okay, letter A. A, yan sagot. Okay, kasi ito, if it is group A, B, and B, pag nag-crisscross, itry nyo i-crisscross. Pag hindi kayo sigurado sa sagot nyo, you have to crisscross it. Okay, kasi pagka ang father ay A, ang mother ay A, okay, so tingnan natin ha. So si father ay A, si mother ay A. Ang ipapares mo dyan, O eh. Okay, so AA, o merong O yan. Yung AA. So it's A, letter A. Ito, group AB and group B, hindi mo mapapaproduce ng group O to. You try the crisscross method, aralin nyo yan. Alright, in what test for semen can you observe the presence of choline per iodide crystals? A. Florence, B. Barbaриus, C. Acid phosphatase test, D. Microscopic. Answer, it's A. Letter A, yan sagot. Letter A. Okay, number 70. The best way to locate and at the same time characterize a seminal stain. Okay. Sagot natin is acid phosphatase test. Pero preliminary test pa rin si acid phosphatase test. 71. Answer. Under the UV light, seminal and blood stains emit fluorescence. What color do they impart? Okay, letter A. Okay, bluish. So, tandaan niyo yung mga bluish fluorescence ha. Ano yung mga yon? Semen, blood stains, tsaka animal fibers. Puro bluish fluorescence yun. How many % of formalin is added to fluid semen as a preservative? Okay, so it should be, okay, 10. Very good. So it's 10. Ang 0.9 dyan dito ay, ang 0.9 class is kung saline solution. Pag gumamit tayo ng saline solution, it's 9%. Okay. Copper salts, potatoes, horseradish are the limitations of what test? Anong klaseng test yan? A. Luminol, B. Benzidine, C. Phenolphthalein, D. Guaiacum. Can you still recall that? Okay, the answer is letter C. Okay, so we have phenolphthalein. Wait lang. Number 74. In what preliminary test for blood can you observe an intense blue color? Answer. A. Luminol. B. Benzidine. C. Guaiacum. D. Phenolphthalein. Intense blue. Ano sagot? Talaga. Oh, hindi kayo para-parehas ng sagot. The answer is benzidine. Ang dalawang blue dyan is benzidine and guaiacum eh. So ito, intense blue is navy blue color. So benzidine yun. Ang guaiacum, it's beautiful or bright blue color. O yun ang tandaan nyo doon. Benzidine, intense blue. Ang guaiacum, it is beautiful or bright blue color. Parehas kasi blue color yan. Okay, number 75. What is the answer in number 75? Tingnan natin kung tama yung sagot. Okay, letter A. Ayan. The principle involved in the preliminary test for blood is oxidation. So, bakit oxidation? So, remember our procedure here, it's always the addition of hydrogen peroxide. So, yung hydrogen peroxide means more oxygen. Kaya, yung nung nag-discuss ako ng preliminary test, there is always an addition of doon sa benzidine, add a few drops of benzidine plus hydrogen peroxide. Sa phenolphthalein, add phenolphthalein and hydrogen peroxide. Sa guaiacum, guaiac plus hydrogen peroxide. Okay. Leucomalachite plus hydrogen peroxide. Bakit? Kailangan niya ng oxygen. So the word oxygen is where this oxidation originated. So oxidation means the addition of oxygen. A reduction kasi, you're going to reduce the compound. Dehydration naman, removal of water molecule yan. Hydration naman, addition of water molecule. So what we need is oxygen. So meaning oxidation. Oxy, from the word oxy. So oxygen. Number 76, the only specific or the most conclusive test for semen and seminal stains. Your answer. Tingnan natin yung last na sumagot. Okay, letter? Okay, B. Tama. Sino yung laging sumasagot ng tama? Classmate ko yung sumasagot ng tama. Okay, next. It is added to blood to preserve it for 1 week at room temperature. Alin dyan yung ideal preservative for blood? It's sodium fluoride, ethyl alcohol, sodium chloride, or formalin. Okay, letter A. Letter A. It's not sodium chloride. It's sodium fluoride. Ang sodium chloride, that is a saline solution, di ba? Ang saline solution, that is just to activate the blood cells. Ang magpe-preserve sa kanya is the sodium fluoride. Okay? Bakit hindi pwede ang formalin? Mag-i-interfere ang formalin sa test. Bakit hindi rin pwede ang ethyl alcohol? Mag-i-interfere yung mga yan. Bakit? These are organic substances. So mag-i-interfere sa test itong ethyl alcohol, formalin. Tapos ang sodium chloride is just used to reactivate. Kung stain yun, i-activate niya lang yung cell. Pero hindi niya mapapreserve yung blood for 1 week. 78. Which crystals confirm the presence of hemoglobin in the blood? Alin dyan? Hemoglobin. O, yun yung keyword nyo eh. Answer nyo? Letter? Okay, B. Ayan. Okay, it's letter B. Hemoglobin. Hemochromogen crystals. So, ang pinaka-keyword nyo dyan, yung hemoglobin nyo. So, that's hemochromogen. Pag sa ano naman, sa acetonhamin text, hamin is the hemoglobin. Yun lang yung i-ano nyo dyan eh. Ang i-connect yung mga words. How about 79? Blood of different species can be differentiated by what test? Microscopic, spectroscopic, microcrystalline, or all of the choices? The best answer is what? Okay, tingnan natin yung sagot ng classmate nyo. Letter? Okay, letter A. Hindi kayo para-parehas ng sagot. Ang sagot dito is letter A. So, microscopic from the criminalistic standpoint can determine whether blood is from avian, what else? Avian, piscine, reptilian, or mammalian blood. Nalala niyo yung discussion natin dyan? Number 80, the most delicate and most reliable test for the determination of whether stain is really blood. Alin na? Kasi all of these are all confirmatory tests eh. O alin dyan yung pinaka-reliable sa lahat. Sa tingin nyo, it's number? Okay, letter A. Bakit siya letter A? Okay, 80 is letter A. Instrumental method yan, mga anak. Okay? So, instrumental yan. So, all the chemist will do is to inject the blood specimen into the spectroscope, no? And then the spectroscope will tell the color of the bands. So, spectrum means a color of bands. So, it's an instrumental method kaya yung pinaka-maano dyan, pinaka-reliable dyan sa lahat. Okay, number 81. An enzyme that accelerates oxidation of several classes of organic compounds by peroxide in the preliminary test for blood. Okay, which acts as oxygen carrier. Anong sagot? Letter B. Okay. Nag-aral si sino to? Barok? Si Barok? So, peroxidase. Hello. Sorry guys, nag-brown out dito sa amin. Okay na. Naririnig niyo na ako? Okay, we're already on number, saan na tayo? Number 82. Okay, number 82, a condition wherein males have no spermatozoa at all in their seminal fluid. Ano sagot? Okay, so this is, okay, number 82 is letter A, aspermia. Okay. Brown out bigla dito sa amin. Buti may load ako. Nawala yung internet. Okay, so number 82 is aspermia. Okay, next. Number 83, test to determine whether a stain is really blood. Ano sagot natin? Really blood. It is letter, okay, letter B. B, bakit A and ang D ang sagot nyo dito? It's letter B, confirm. Really blood. We have to confirm. Really blood yan. Alleged blood yung preliminary natin, ha? Okay, pag alleged blood, preliminary. Pag really blood, confirmatory. I-confirm mo yung sagot. Ayan. Madilim dito sa amin, kaya nagsara na ako ng microphone. Number 84, these are chemical principles or structures in the surface of each red blood cells. Sagot. Letter. Okay, antigens ang sagot dyan. Agglutinins are found in the serum. So antigens, or they are referred as agglutinogen. So nasa red blood cells yan. Ang agglutinin natin, so ang pagpipilian lang naman natin dito is antigen or agglutinin. So antigen, nasa RBC. Ang agglutinins natin nasa serum. Whichever, baka mamaya kung alin dyan yung ano, yung lumalabas na question. Okay. So the method used in grouping things of dried blood or blood stain. Okay. It's a blood. So we have, okay, number 86. The following statements are correct. Hello, ayun. Ayun, nabuhay na yung Meralco dito sa akin. Saan na ba tayo? Number, ito, 86. The following statements are correct except A, all blood stains can be identified by the precipitin test. B, heat affects the precipitin test. C, precipitin test is not specific for human blood. Then letter D, acids and alcohols may inhibit or even destroy the precipitin reaction. Which of these is incorrect? Letter? Okay, may sumasagot. Okay, letter C. Okay, very good. So our answer for number 86 is letter C. Okay, why? Why letter C? Precipitin test is already a specific test for human blood. Okay? So, all, kasi ito, this letter A is a correct answer kasi even old stains can respond to the precipitin test. Tapos, one limitation or two limitations of the precipitin reaction is heat. So once, ang explanation ko sa inyo dyan dati is, halimbawa, ang crime scene natin ay sa labas. It's in a vacant lot. So yung victim natin, halimbawa, naarawan ng maghapon yan. So even if that is really the blood of the victim, once it was heated or exposed to extreme heat of the sunlight, magne-negative sa precipitin. Kaya tama yung and alcohols may inhibit or even destroy the precipitin reaction. So, dati, sabi ko sa inyo is, if let's say ang ating crime scene is nasa bodega tayo na pagawa ng acids, ganyan, tapos natapunan yung blood natin. Even if it is human blood, pag ganun ang nangyari, this will inhibit or even destroy the precipitin reaction. So magde-negative siya sa precipitin test. Then number 88, the liquid portion of the unclotted blood when it is allowed to stand for some time. Anong sagot yan? Unclotted blood. So, ang pagpipilian lang naman natin yan, clotted saka unclotted eh. So, unclotted blood. So, when it is allowed to dry, ay allowed to stand for some time, then the blood will settle down. Limbawa sa test tube yan. Ang sagot dito is the plasma. Pag clotted blood, it is a serum. Okay, itong dalawa lang naman pagpipilian nyo guys. Ito is the product of unclotted blood, ang plasma. Tapos, ang ating serum, clotted blood. Okay? So, ito wala na yan. I-discard nyo na si thrombocytes sa leukocytes. These are solid portion or solid components of blood. Okay, number 89. To prove that the stain really contains blood, the presence of hemoglobin must be established by this test. Okay, so what test is that? Is it microcrystalline, spectroscopic, none of these, or both microcrystalline and spectroscopic? Which is the best answer there? Okay, sumagot. Tingnan natin. Okay, letter D ang sagot. D as in delta. Both microcrystalline and spectroscopic. Okay. Diba the confirmatory tests for blood are, we have microcrystalline, spectroscopic, and microscopic. Ayan. Okay, number 90. A preliminary test for blood used or also known as Kastle-Meyer test. What's the answer? Letter? Anyone? So it's not. Okay, letter B, pheno, yes. It's the phenolphthalein. Okay. Evidence that establishes the main fact of issue. Is it hearsay, scientific, direct, or testimonial? Establishes the main fact of issue. Answer is letter. Okay, letter C. So it's direct. Kasi hearsay, sabi-sabi lang yan, which is not accepted in court. Scientific natin, so it is an evidence which conforms to principles of science. Tapos yung direkta doon sa ating problema, it's syempre direct yan. Is the main fact of issue. Testimonial is a statement made by any of the witness. 92. So they are responsible for the transmission of hereditary characters. Is it blood, genes, cells, or enzymes? Let's see, may sumagot. Okay, letter. Okay, letter B. So it's our genes, of course. Okay, nasaan yung DNA natin? Nasa genes natin. This refers to a person who is requested to give information concerning an incident or a person. Assailant, witness, investigator, or suspect. Okay, so it is the letter. Bakit investigator? Requested to give information. Witness, syempre. Bakit si investigator? Okay, witness ang sagot niyan. Okay, next. It refers to a piece of evidence wherein scientific knowledge is necessary. O, andyan na yung sagot. So, it's scientific. Okay, next. Number 95. Known specimens that are used to compare with that of the question. A, standard. B, question. C, evidence. D, none of this. Okay, so letter A, standard. So our answer is standard. May nagtatanong na number 92. Your 92 is genes. Okay. The most commonly used preliminary test for blood. Ano yung unang-unang preliminary test for blood natin? So is it A, guaiacum, B, benzidine, C, phenolphthalein, D, leucomalachite? Okay, the most commonly used is benzidine. Although ngayon, guys, hindi na masyadong ginagamit ang benzidine. Bakit? It is carcinogenic. Nagkakos ng cancer yung chemicals na ginagamit dito. Okay, 97. If a stain is positive with the benzidine, Takayama, and lastly, with the precipitin test, what does this mean? A, the statement is, the stain is human blood. B, the stain is animal blood. C, the stain is group AB. D, the stain is not blood. Okay, so let us see your answers. Okay, letter A, tama. So it is human blood kasi nag-positive siya sa benzidine, Takayama. So kung hanggang Takayama lang, it is blood. Okay? So it will not tell us whether it's human. Pero pag nag-positive na, pati doon sa precipitin, so that's already human blood. Okay, next. The fluid portion of blood which separates when blood did not clot due to the addition of an oxalate. O, kasasabi ko yan kanina. Answer? Letter? Okay, serum. Ayan. O, yun lang naman eh, clot, hindi nag-clot. So, unclotted. Did not clot yan eh. Did not clot. Unclotted, did not clot. O, anong sagot? Is it serum? Plasma. Nabago lang yung sagot eh. Nabago lang yung tema nung tanong, I should say. Did not clot due to the addition of an oxalate. Plasma yan. Serum is clotted blood. Number 99. The positive result of barbarous tests. Okay, choline peroxide is for this is Florence test yan. Red-orange pigmentation is acid phosphatase test. Presence of spermatozoa is microscopic test. Tapos spermid picrane, that is for the barbarous test. Number 100. Answer. Do you have any idea? Blood groups were discovered by, letter B. It was Landsteiner. Okay. Universal donor. Common. Common yan. It is group. Okay. Letter C. So group O. A person is said to be deeply intoxicated when the percentage of blood of alcohol in his blood is blank. Sobrang nalason na siya. Which percentage is that? A. May sumakot ng letter A. A person is considered as deeply intoxicated with alcohol when the percent of alcohol is already 50% and above. 0.50%. All right, number 103. Grain alcohol is the component of wines and liquors. What is its other name? Anong alcohol ang nasa liquor natin, guys? Okay, may sumagot. Let us see. Okay, letter A. Hindi methyl, ethyl. Methyl, magiging formalin yan. Naalala nyo yung balita doon sa Quezon noon na marami namatay? That is because of methyl alcohol. Bakit nakakamatay yan? Kasi yung methyl, pag nag-oxidize yan, nagiging formalin. So, ang alcohol na nasa alak natin, guys, is ethyl alcohol or this also known as, baka mamaya ang choice nyo is ethanol. Ayan. Okay, pwedeng ethyl alcohol or ethanol. Alright. If alcohol is found inside the human body, through what route is it best eliminated or excreted? Perspiration, urine, feces, or saliva? Alin ang best dyan? So it is letter, magkakaiba sagot nyo. It's letter B. It's urine. Pag inom kayo ng inom ng alak, alcohol yan eh. So it is found in the, laging may limit, di ba? Lalo kung beer ang ininom nyo, ano nangyayari, di ba? Tas malamig ang panahon, what will happen? So you keep on urinating. So meaning, na-eliminate yung iniinom mong beer sa katawan mo pag panay ang ihi mo. So that's the best method. Although lahat yan, those are all ways of eliminating alcohol from the blood. Pero yung pinakamabilis na paraan, no, is through the urine. Okay, number 105. When the percentage of alcohol in the blood is between 0.10 to 0.30%, what is the stage of intoxication? A, confusion. B, stupor. C, apparent stimulation. And then D, coma. Comatose. Comatose na ba ang pere? Ang pagka nakainom ng konti? Hindi. So, hindi coma yun. So, it is on confusion. Apparent stimulation is 0.05 to 0.10% or 0.20%. Ang stupor, guys, is from 0.20% to 0.30% ang stupor. So, ito is confusion. 106. When a person is in a state of confusion, what are the clinical manifestations? So, pag confusion yan, it's already okay. Eto. A, disturbance of sensation, decreased pains and slurred speech. B, marked decrease to stimuli approaching paralysis. C, complete unconsciousness, subnormal temperature, hindi yan. O hindi, pagpipilian nyo lang is letter A and letter D. Anong sagot? Is it letter A or letter D? A. Okay? A ang sagot. Kasi ito, decrease inhibition, apparent stimulation yan. So, pag apparent stimulation, letter D. Okay? So, your answer here, state of confusion is, ito, disturbance of sensation. Wait lang. Disturbance of sensation, slurred speech. 107. It is also called agricultural soil. So, tingin nyo, ano sagot dyan? Letter A. Okay, letter A. Loamy. Agricultural soil is loamy soil. Ang sand, di naman nabubuhay masyadong dyan. Lalo ang silt, lalo ang clay. O, ito. When the percentage of alcohol in the blood is between 0.35 to 0.60%, what is the stage of intoxication? Is it coma or death, stupor, stimulation, confusion? Okay, let's see your answer. Okay, letter A. Yes, letter A. Sana yan. Dedo na yan pagka ganyang kataas yung percentage na alcohol sa katawan ng isang tao. It deals with the scientific or systematic. It deals with the systematic classification and identification of rock-forming minerals, rocks, and soils. Is it geology, petrography, petrographic analysis, spectrographic analysis? Dalawa lang pagpipilian nyo dyan. Mag-eliminate kayo. Eliminate nyo to. Eliminate nyo yung letter C. Eliminate nyo yung letter D. Okay, ano sagot? B. No, mali kayo dito. So it's letter B. Mag-eliminate kayo para ano? Nandiyan na yung sagot ng number 110. Okay, 111. It is formed when dust is mixed with the sweat and grease of the human body. What's the answer? 103. Paano 103? Balikan natin si 103 daw. Ethyl alcohol or ethanol. Okay. Tapos, ano sagot nyo dito? 106. A. Okay. Then, saan na tayo? How about number 111? This form when dust is mixed with the sweat and grease of the human body. Grime. Itong gypsum silicates, mga minerals to. Eliminate nyo na to. Tanggalin nyo si gypsum, tanggalin nyo si silicate. Okay, ang pagpipilian nyo na lang, mud tsaka grime. Ano yung mud? Mud is what? Putik, di ba? Okay, human body ang pinag-uusapan. So, ano natira? Grime. Grime is libag. Mag-eliminate kayo para makita nyo. Ha? Para makuha nyo yung tamang sagot. Okay, number 112. The most commonly used test to determine density. The density of soil samples. O, tingnan nyo dyan yung keyword ninyo. What's the answer? Letter? Ano ba yon? Dust mixed with water ang mud, ma'am. Ah, yes. Dust mixed with water, mud. Tama. Okay. Mud to, ha? Pero kung dust mixed with sweat, ay grime. Okay. So, etong sagot dyan. Hindi ko pala in-underline. Okay. Yan. Tapos, eto, kuha nyo yun. Nandyan na yung keyword nyo, density gradient apparatus. Although, alam niyo yung naranasan ko sa Philippine College of Criminology is yung density gradient apparatus na mano-mano. Pero ngayon kasi meron nang nabibili na high-tech na tayo. Meron na tayo tinatawag na density gradient apparatus. It's the apparatus alone which will determine the density of two soil samples. Okay. So anong purpose niya? Halimbawa, sa crime scene, makakuha ng soil sample. Tapos doon sa sapatos ng suspect, nakakuha ng soil sample. So this is submitted for comparative examination. Then one method of determining whether those two soil samples are identical is through the use of the density gradient apparatus. So density ang titingnan doon. Number 113. Use in pottery industries. Alin dyan? Ang ginagamit sa paggawa ng mga palayok, banga, tsaka mga pots para sa mga plant pots. Okay, it is the letter, bakit letter D? Letter A. Okay. So this is letter A. Pwede ba tayo mag-break? Kahit 10 minutes? Tuloy-tuloy kasi yung klase ko kanina. Break tayo saglit, ha? Kahit 5 minutes lang. Ito nakakain sa kwarto. Ay, Bonso, pengi nga akong tinidor, anak. Pengi tinidor, anak. Which of the following statements is not true? DNA is stable since it can be isolated from materials that is months or even years old. Tama ba yung, is this statement correct, yung letter A? Correct yan. Letter B, DNA can be obtained from a wide variety of biological sources like blood, semen, hair, saliva, and bones. Okay, tama yan. Letter C, DNA can be replicated in the laboratory from a very small amount of initial material through the process called PCR. The letter D, DNA does not show greater variability from one individual to another, which is incorrect here. Okay, letter D, yes. O, sige. Break lang saglitan ng mga anak ha, kasi I have to refill my energy kasi may klase ako kanina bago kayo. Klase ako sa undergrad. Ano lang to? May charge ako konti lang. Tamis? Sa ulo? Sa pakikuha na to na nako. Ako, sasabit pala ako ng grades sa City College. Saan na tayo? Okay, number 114. Our answer is letter D. Kasi DNA show greater variability from one individual to another. Meaning, no, DNA is very reliable or conclusive because we have, no, DNA show greater variability, meaning magkakaiba tayo ng DNA pattern kasi. We have different DNA patterns kung pag-gasolina kayo. Ay, XCS ang pinapagasolina ko, kuya, ha? 115, which is the incorrect here. The following are some biological specimens used for DNA analysis except, ano sagot dito? Okay, letter, lahat po sila tama. Merong hindi tama dyan. Alam nyo kung ano hindi tama dyan? Letter C. Kasi, you have to submit with roots. Okay? Pagka ginamit natin ang hair as samples for DNA analysis, kailangan may roots siya. Eh, nakalagay dito, hair without follicles or roots. So, ito yung mali dyan. Okay? Tingnan nyo maigi yung mga tanong. Okay, number 16, bakit nagbago itong aking? Ayusin natin. Pagulo. Ito. Okay. This one. All right. Which of the following statement is correct? A. If the evidentiary sample is similar with that of the suspect, it means that the evidentiary sample came from that suspect. B. If the evidentiary sample is different with that of the suspect, it means the evidentiary sample came from the victim. C. If the reference sample, so standard specimen natin yan, if the reference sample is the same as that of the evidentiary sample, it means it came from the suspect. Letter D, if the evidentiary sample is the same as that of the reference sample, it means it came from a random individual. Ano yung pinakatamang statement dyan? Letter? This is a matter of fully understanding it. Okay, ang sagot letter A. Okay, so our answer is letter A. Ayan. 117, the hereditary material that contains the genetic information necessary for the duplication of cells and production of proteins in living organisms. Cells, deoxyribonucleic acid, chromosome, or enzymes. Okay, letter, yeah, DNA. So it's deoxyribonucleic acid. 118 is, he is the molecular biologist who introduced the use of DNA in forensic science. A. Jeffries, B. Landsteiner, C. Einstein, D. Mullis. Letter, okay, A. So it's Dr. Alec Jeffries. So who is a molecular biologist and at the same time physician. Okay, so saan nyo in-introduce ang DNA? Sa fingerprint. So the first application of DNA to forensic science class is on fingerprints. 119. These are finely powdered particles that may be found on the clothing and footwear of employees engaged in such industries. Is it A, occupational dust, B, road and footpath dust, C, dust deposited in the air, and then D, industrial dust? Okay, so nakita nyo lang industrial, letter D na kayo. Occupational. So it's letter A. Okay, so road. Hindi na yan. So eliminate nyo si road. Eliminate nyo si dust. So ang pagpipilian nyo lang is occupational, industrial. So employees yan eh. Footwear, clothing, and footwear of employees engaged in such industries. Okay. So number 120. Which of the following statements is correct? A, is it is always possible to determine the whereabouts of a suspect using soil as evidence. B, soil as evidence in crime investigation is considered as a corroborative evidence. C, soil found in the belongings of a suspect can prove that he is guilty. D, soil can be analyzed by microscopic examination. Which of those is the best correct answer? Tingnan natin ang mga sagot nyo. Number, okay, may sumagot ng letter B, may sumagot ng letter A. Okay, our answer is letter B. Okay, kasi yung letter A natin, it's not always, no? It can, soil as evidence cannot always determine the whereabouts of the suspect. Okay, so hindi naman como may soil na doon sa belonging ng suspect, guilty agad yan. So mali yung statement natin. Then soil cannot be analyzed using microscopic examination. Ang mga examinations, the examinations which are employed in soil analysis are spectrographic, we have the soil density, gradient apparatus examination, then we have the fluorescence test, then X-ray diffraction. So walang microscopic examination sa soil analysis. Okay, so mali yung statement. Okay, so the most correct answer there is letter B. 121. It is referred to as the naturally occurring organic materials found on the Earth's surface. A, dust, B, soil, C, mud, D, grime. Okay, syempre, letter B. So that's soil. Ang mga madadaling question to. Okay, next. In the analysis of dust and dirt, what specific test should be employed if there is only a small amount of specimen? Okay, A, thermal analysis, B, density gradient tube analysis, C, spectrographic analysis, and then D, X-ray diffraction. So if there is only a small amount, no, ang gagamitin natin is the spectrographic analysis. Okay. Why spectrographic analysis? Because it will not alter the composition of the soil, no? Kasi the X-ray diffraction, mano yun eh, ma-expose na yan sa UV rays. Then we need a very large amount of the soil sample pag X-ray diffraction. Ganun din sa density gradient. Okay. 123, it consists of small particles of weathered rock and is usually formed by the breakdown or fragmentation of rocks like granite, limestone, and quartz. Is it sandy? Is it silt? Is it a loamy or clay? Loamy, hindi na yan kasama dyan. Eliminate nyo na yung loamy kasi combination ng apat yung loamy eh. Okay, clay, ay malagkit na soil. So, eliminate nyo yung loamy tsaka yung clay. So, ang pagpipilian nyo na lang is sandy and silt. Okay, so our answer here is the sandy soil. No? So, when there is a breakdown or fragmentation of rocks, no, this is already converted into sandy soil. So, ang silt kasi, silt is with a smaller size, although it's also a product of the breakdown or fragmentation of rocks, no? It has a smaller size than that of the sandy soil. Kaya ang best, the most correct answer here is the sandy soil. May kasama ng dust yung yung silt. The following are applications of metallurgy to crime detection, except, kitang-kita nyo yung sagot dyan. Sa nail examination, we have counterfeit coins, restoration of tampered serial numbers, then we have the DPA paraffin. So, syempre, ang sagot natin is the DPA paraffin test because this is test for the presence of nitrate residues. Okay, so itong nail examination, ang discussion ko sa inyo dati dito is that nail examination is literal, no, examination done on the fingernails and toenails, and it is used to detect the presence of a metallic fragment. So metals ang pinag-uusapan yan, and metals are made up of, ayan, metallurgy, no, metals yan. Then we have counterfeit coins. Coins are made up of metals also. Then serial numbers are usually embossed on metals. Okay, so puro metals ang pinag-uusapan natin yan sa tatlo, except for the DPA paraffin test kasi what is to be determined here is the presence of nitrate residues. So hindi metallic residues ang pinag-uusapan yan. Okay, 125. It involves the application of a chemical solution on a metallic surface where the serial numbers are embedded and observing any chemical reaction that may take place. Is it macro etching, micro etching, both the macro etching and micro etching, or none of the choices? O pagpipilian nyo lang dalawa, is it macro or micro? Anong kaibahan ng macro sa micro? Ang macro can be seen by the naked eye. Ang micro is microscopic. So if we are talking about serial numbers, we are applying the macro. So our best answer here, or the correct answer, is macro etching. 126. The following are importance of macro etching in criminal investigation, except A, conflicting claims of properties recovered by investigators can be resolved. B, the property found in the possession of the suspect can be proven that it is actually owned by the victim. Wait lang. Okay. Letter C, the property that may have been taken from the scene of the crime can be established. Then letter D, the actual date and time the property was purchased can be determined. Or which of them is incorrect? Letter, okay, tingnan natin ang sagot niyo kung tama. Okay, letter 125 is macro etching. Bakit na-late na kayo? 122 is letter C. 125 is macro etching. O, dito na tayo sa 126. Which of them is incorrect? Conflicting claims of properties recovered by investigators can be resolved. Pwede bang ma-resolve ng macro etching yung number 1? Yes or no? Okay. Is it correct or not? Then letter B. The property found in the possession of the suspect can be proven that it is actually owned by the victim. Okay, letter C. The property that may have been taken from the scene of the crime can be established. Then letter C, the actual date and time the property was purchased can be determined. So which of them is not applicable? Letter D, syempre. Okay. Letter D, resibo lang naman papakita sa atin kung kailan binili yan. It's not the serial numbers. Okay. How about 127? Chemicals or reagents used to restore numbers in iron and steel. Okay, the most common here is we have letter B. So this is the cupric chloride. No? So this is for iron and steel. Ang glacial acetic acid kasi is for silver, concentrated, aluminum yan. Tapos concentrated nitric acid is for silver. Nitric acid plus glycerin is yung isa pang kaklase ng metal. Okay, number 128. Which of the following is correct? A, it is not always possible to restore the original numbers of tampered serial numbers. Letter B, it is always possible to restore the original numbers of tampered serial numbers. Letter C, it is not possible to restore the original numbers of tampered serial numbers. Letter D, it is possible to restore the original numbers of tampered serial numbers. Which is the best answer there? Parang para-parehas, di ba? It's just a matter of understanding the question. Okay, the best answer there is letter A. Okay, why? It is not always possible, especially if the filing is too deep. Ba yan? Wait lang. One, 2, 9. Okay, iron still nabaliktad lang yung question kanina. The following are methods applied to soil analysis. A, X-ray diffraction. B, spectrographic. C, gas chromatography. And then letter D, none of the choices. Palitan ko to. Palitan ko ng density gradient analysis. Para hindi nyo na anuhin yan. Paano pag may none of the choices? Hindi nyo pwedeng piliin yun kung ano. Density gradient analysis. Oh. Okay, our answer here is gas chromatography. Hindi ginagamit ang gas chromatography sa X-ray, sa soil analysis. Ito yung tatlo pwede pa. 1, 2, 3, and including fluorescence tests. Okay, so those are the 4 examinations which are employed in soil analysis. Then we have 131. Which of the following is the best method applied in blood alcohol concentration determination? Is it gas chromatography? B, thermal analysis? C, DNA? We have D, spectrography. Okay, our answer is gas chromatography. DNA, yan DNA. Iba naman, thermal is for soil analysis yan. Spectrographic is for soil analysis. For soil analysis, glass analysis, yan. Thermal analysis, pwede rin sa glass yan. 132. Okay, this is another form of question. A classification of dust that can be used by investigators as investigative lead in identification of the victims in crime scenes. A, occupational. B, industrial. Okay, eliminate nyo yung dalawa. Alin yung sagot? Identification of victims. What is our best answer? Okay, letter. Eliminate nyo nga yung dalawa sa baba. It's letter A pa rin. Letter A. Okay. The ideal amount of soil sample to be submitted for soil analysis. Okay, baka nakalimutan nyo to. It's 25 milligrams. Alright, ito, question tal lumabas sa ano to? Lumabas sa board exam nung kailan to? Once a DNA sample is submitted for analysis, after how many days or hours will the forensic examiners must release the result? Is it 24 to 36? Is it 48 to 72? Is it 24 hours only or 48 hours only? Alam nyo ba kung anong sagot dito? Letter? Okay. Magkakaiba kayo ng sagot. A letter is letter B. Okay, 135. A cast of shoe impression collected in a crime scene is considered as blank. Crime scene, is it questioned? Is it the standard? Is it physical evidence or all of the choices? Anong sagot? Okay, the answer is letter. Sino ko ang sagot niyo? Okay, A. Okay. 136. Oh, sa poisons na tayo. Unstable na naman yung aking ano. Naririnig niyo pa ba ako, guys? Naririnig niyo ako? Okay. Unstable yung connection ko. The best specimen submitted for toxicological examination for cyanide and solvent poisoning. Okay, is it brain, lungs, liver, or blood? Do you have any idea of this? Ang sagot ng mga classmate nyo is, okay, letter brain. Ang sagot dyan, it's brain. It's not the lungs. Solvent and cyanide poisoning is brain. Tulad ng ano, solvent, tulad ng mga toluene, mga ganyan. Toluene is a component of this solvent. Ano ba yung solvent? Rugby, yan, cyanide. Okay, ang tatamaan dyan talaga is brain. So it deals with the uses, effects, and modes of action of drugs. A, posology. B, pharmacology. C, pharmacy. And then D, pharmacy. So eliminate niya yung letter C and letter D. Ang pagpipilian nyo na lang is posology and pharmacology. Oh, which is the answer? Is it posology or pharmacology? Uses and effects. Okay. Okay, bravo. How about posology? Dosage. Posology. All right. A physical antidote that produces intestinal evacuation. From the word, okay, A, emetics, B, cathartics, C, precipitants, D, demulcents. All right. So intestinal evacuation is, alam nyo, ang sagot dito is cathartics. Example ng cathartics is we have stomach tubes, ganyan, catheter, from the word catheter. So pag pinasukan ng catheter, halimbawa, through the mouth, what will happen? So you will be evacuating the component or the contents of the stomach through vomiting also. Okay. 139. When caffeine is given to a drunk person or a person is poisoned with morphine, what type of antidote is caffeine? Okay, is it universal? B, physiological? C, chemical or physical? Okay, our answer is chemical. Okay, pang kontra, chemically it will alter the effect of let's say, alcohol. Okay, di ba pagka-alcohol ang binibigay kape? So, chemically it will alter. Why? Kasi ang alcohol is acidic si acidic si coffee, tapos basic si alcohol. Or alkaline si alcohol. 140. The largest amount that will cause no harm and at the same time produce the desired therapeutic effect. Is it maximum dose? B, minimum dose? C, lethal dose? Then D, toxic and poisonous dose. It will not cause largest pero walang harm. Anong sagot natin dyan? Okay, letter? Okay, letter A. The most detrimental among the methods of administration of drugs or poison. Ay, dito ang pinaka-delikado. Is it intravenous injection? Is it poisons taken orally? Is it hypodermic injection or poisons that are inhaled? Okay, letter A. Okay? So, kung ang nakita nyo guys ay may inhale saka intravenous, no? Ang mas pinakadelikado sa lahat is intravenous. Why? Intravenous is injecting through the veins. So, diretso sa blood yan. Pero kung wala kayong intravenous, tapos ang meron is poisons that are inhaled, yun ang So, pinakatamang sagot is intravenous injection. Next lang si inhaled poison. Alright. Poisons are more detrimental. So, mas delikado daw ang poisons pagka diluted sila. Pero may exception yan. Okay, is it irritants, corrosives, when the poison is solid or when the poison is saturated? Okay, the answer is corrosives. Oh, wait lang. Okay, corrosive poisons. Ano ba mga example kasi ng corrosive poisons? Acids. Ba mas delikado ang acid pag purong-puro, di ba? So just like the effect of muriatic acid. So ano ba ang ang characteristics ng muriatic acid. Pagbukas mo pa lang sa container is umuusok na yan. So meaning mas delikado ang poison pagka corrosive yan kasi mas delikado pagka purong-puro. Kasi diluted means may nadagdag ng water yan. 143. Poison is more toxic when it is in, whether it is, oh wait lang, tanggalin ko to. It is blank. A, soluble. B, insoluble. C, slightly soluble. D, either soluble or insoluble. Alin na mas delikado dito? Kung madaling matunaw, hindi natutunaw, bahagya natunaw, o kaya kahit alin sa dalawa. Okay, A. Kasi, bakit? Kasi pagka natutunaw yan, madali siyang mahalo sa water content ng ating stomach, especially those poisons that were eaten or that were drunk. So kung madaling ma-dissolve yan sa liquid portion ng ating stomach, so eventually, it will be absorbed by the stomach and is absorbed later on by the blood. Na. Soluble yan, so hindi natutunaw, so what will happen? It will just go to the waste. So magiging pupo na lang yan pag insoluble. Kasi hindi siya magre-react sa stomach walls natin or the intestinal walls. Alright, number 144. So a term applied to individuals who exhibit unusual behavior to certain substances. Ang example ko dito is pagka uminom ng alak, especially yung mga baguhan na umiinom ng alak is namamantal yung katawan, nagre-red. It causes redness on the skin. Okay, what is the answer for 144? Letter? Tingnan natin ang sagot nyo. Okay, magkaiba ang mga sagot nyo. The answer is letter B, idiosyncrasy. Tolerance. Ano ba ibig sabihin kasi ng tolerance? Your body can tolerate the chemical that you introduce to it. Ang tolerance. Okay. Definitely, i-slash nyo sa addiction. I-slash nyo si tolerance. Tolerance is kayang tanggapin ng katawan mo yung substance. So, allergy is nandyan na yan sa katawan mo eh. Allergy is hindi nawawala yan. Idiosyncrasy yun. No? Unusual behavior. Basta unusual behavior, that's idiosyncrasy. Alright, number 145. One in which the history is hazy. So, meaning hindi maintindihan as to how the poison was obtained and why it was administered. O anong sagot niyo dyan? A, accidental. B, undetermined. C, homicidal. D, suicidal. Okay, so hazy, ibig sabihin hindi maintindihan. Okay, letter B. Alright, nakuha niyo na yan. Dali lang na maintindihin itong mga kinds of poisoning na to. Alright. Poisons that act directly upon the spinal column, producing such spasmodic and continuous contraction of muscles as a result of stiffness. Spinal column. Dagdagan natin. Spinal column. Okay. Is it, spinal cord ang affected yan. Is it A, neurotics, B, narcotics, C, tetanics, B, corrosives? Answer? Letter? Neuro is ano eh. Neuro is brain. Oh. Hindi neuro ang sagot niyan. Spinal column eh. Magkaiba naman yung brain sa spinal. Neuro. Tetanics ang sagot. From the word neuro, so that's the brain. So spinal cord is tetanics, tetanus. Ayan. Corrosive naman, ito yung mga natatapon na ano tulad ng acido, ganyan. Okay, 147. Poisons that act chiefly on the nervous system. Oh, from the word nervous. So, ano yan? Anong sagot? We have, okay, A. Okay, the answer is A, neurotics. Ano mga example neurotics? Alcohol. Alak. Kakabaliw kaya ang alak. Yun ang paparaning sa alak. Narcotics, iba naman sa neurotics. Alright. Poisons that produce stupor, complete insensibility, loss of feeling, nawawala sa sarili to the extent na pumapatay na ng nanay, pumapatay ng kapatid, na rape. Okay, what's your answer here? Oh, may sumagot ng sedative. Loss of feeling, kung may loss of feeling din, sedative. Sedative is pampakalma. Produce stupor, complete insensibility. What do you mean by complete insensibility? Nawawala sa sarili. Loss of feeling, walang pakiramdam. Alin dyan? Sino nababaliw pagka na-take yan? O, anong sagot? Wala. Narcotics, syempre. Hindi sedatives, pampakalma eh. Okay, intindihin niyo yung mga tanong. Poisons that produce irritation and inflammation of the mucous membrane and characterized by vomiting, pain in the abdomen, and purging. Mga baliktad ang sikmura. Nasiya yung ano. Okay, we have irritants. Corrosive, may nausea ang ano corrosives eh. Okay, so these are irritants. Poisons that cause local destruction of tissues characterized by nausea, vomiting, and great local. Ito yung corrosive. So baka pagpalitin nyo si irritants tsaka si corrosives ha. Ayan. So pag may nausea yan, may yung nahihilo, tapos bumabaliktad ang sikmura doon sa irritants. Dito talagang diretso vomiting yan. Then panghihina ng katawan. So that's corrosives. 151, poisons that are unstable and easily affected by heat. And examples are alcohols and phenols. Okay, A, we have non-volatile poisons, B, volatile poisons, C, metallic poisons, D, mineral poisons. Volatile siya non-volatile lang yung pagpipilian nyo dyan. So, eliminate nyo na yung dalawang choices. So, madaling sumingaw. We call that madaling sumingaw. Unstable, easily affected by heat, meaning madaling mag-evaporate. Okay, which is the answer? Is it non-volatile or volatile? Sagot nyo, letter? Okay, B, bravo. Non-volatile are stable compounds. Okay, so ito yung hindi basta-basta nag-evaporate. Ang volatile, ito yung madaling mag-evaporate. Okay. 152, poisons that are chemically produced in the lab that have useful importance to its purpose but becomes poisonous when taken into the body. A, mineral, B, organic, C, synthetic, D, non-volatile. Sagot? Okay, letter C, synthetic nga. So, artificial. Anong sagot sa 151? Okay. Volatile. Wala na underline. Okay, so this is synthetic or artificial poisons or man-made produced in the lab. O, yun yung mga ano yun. So, synthetic. 153, it is defined as the determination of drug use, poisoning, or exposure to toxic substances as part of legal investigation. Eliminate nyo na yung dalawa, letter C and letter D. So, anong pagpipilian natin? Once may legal yan, ano, is it toxicology lang or forensic toxicology? Basta pinag-uusapan, it's not. Forensic toxicology na yan. Okay? Kasi pag legal na yung pinag-uusapan, forensics na yan. Okay? So, we have forensic toxicology. Alright. Okay, a chemical substance found in syrup or in cough syrup. So, codeine. Ang toluene kasi, ang meron dyan is, ang toluene, component ng rugby yan. Tsaka mga paint, ganyan. Okay, analgesic, aspirin, puro mga gamot yan. Okay. Alright. 155. If poison is due to alkali burns, what special treatment should be done? Halimbawa, natapunan ka ng mga liquid salsa, ganyan. Ano ang pwedeng ipang, what do you call this? Ipang first aid? Ika-counteract mo yung effect ng poison eh. So, yan, mga liquid salsa. So, ang ipang ano mo dyan, pang counteract mo dyan is letter A. Wash with lemon or other citrus fruits. Neutralize mo yung effect ng mga alkali burns na yun. Okay. 156, the repeated taking of small doses of the drug. Alin dyan ang best answer dyan? Is it habit, tolerance, addiction, immunity? Small dosage lang yan. Letter A. Small doses eh. Kasi yung addiction, pwede kang mag-take na sobrang dami na yan eh. Habit. Your answer here should be habit. Okay. Action of poison when the stomach is full. Will it stop the poison? That's letter A. Letter B, it will slow down the effect of poison. C, it prevents the poison. Or D, it hastens. Hasten means pabibilisin niya. Which is the best answer here? Will, okay, letter B. Magkakaiba kayo ng sagot. So, it will slow down or it will delay. No? Kasi ang tao, halimbawa, na-expose tayo sa gaseous substance. In between busog na tao at saka gutom na tao, madaling mahilo dyan is yung gutom. No? So, when the stomach is full, no, this will slow down or will delay the action of the poison kasi may pangontra ka doon sa effect ng poison. Okay? Acid found in vinegar, ano kaya? Ano ang acid found in vinegar? Is it acetic? Is it muriatic? Is it sulfuric, nitric? Alin ang pwede makain dyan? Yung acetic, syempre. Ito yung nasa vinegar natin. Muriatic, yung panlinis ng CR. Mga industrial acids yan. Sulfuric acid, yan yung nasa baterya ng masasakyan. Nitric acid is panlinis ng silver. Okay? It is locally known as muriatic acid. Okay, our muriatic acid is ito, hydrochloric acid siya. Poisons found in the skin of frogs. Okay, ang prussic acid. Acid yan eh. Okay, it is ito, bufotoxin. Ang tomain is yan yung uod na puti na nanggagaling sa mga bulok na bubulok na meat. Ang venom naman sa ahas. Ahas yan. Alright. So, edi, ito organic acid naman yun. Okay, number 161. To what route is the best way? Nasabi ko na to kanina, no? Of eliminating alcohol from the body. Okay, so, na-repeat pala yung question na to. It's urine. Alright, the best specimen submitted for drug analysis and doping in athletes. Ang athlete ba, ano yung sinasubmit nilang specimen? Is it blood? Is it urine? Is it liver? Or vomitus? Vomitus is suka. Which is the best answer? Urine. Okay, urine na ginagamit. Hindi na sila pwede magbawas ng blood kasi sasabak sila sa sabak sila sa competition eh. So, drug analysis in doping in athletes is, the best specimen is urine. Hindi sila pwede magbigay ng blood kasi manghihina yung mga yun. Okay? Cannot give blood to athletes or you cannot get blood from athletes. Siyempre, affected yung nila noon, yung resistensya ng katawan nila pagka tinanggalan ng blood yan. Anong purpose niyan? Para lang malaman kung gumagamit sila ng mga steroids, ganyan. 163. The advantage of using urine in drug tests. A. The concentration of drugs in the urine is 100 times higher than that in the blood. B. Urine yan. The concentration of drugs in the blood is 100 times higher than that in the urine. Higher. Drugs are excreted almost entirely as metabolites in the urine. Metabolites is parang residue lang siya. Drugs are present as metabolites in the blood. Okay, our answer here is, yan, letter A. Kailan exam nyo pala? When is your exam? June? Anong date? Specific? June 12. Birthday ko yan. 12, holiday ang 12, 13, 14 na. So, ang birthday ko, sana makatake ng board exam yung anak ko, kaso nasa training. Hindi pa makalabas ng training. Alright, 164. A poisonous gas that is usually found in exhaust of automobiles. Siguro naman alam nyo to. What is the answer for 164? A, B, C, D. B, okay, carbon monoxide. Kasi highly poisonous ang carbon monoxide which causes asphyxia. Ano yung asphyxia? Okay, kulang sa oxygen sa parang suffocation, no? So pag na-expose tayo sa carbon monoxide which is very poisonous, no? So it can cause asphyxia. So kulang sa oxygen to sobra sa carbon monoxide. A type of poisoning where there is a prompt disturbance due to taking the poison in an excessive single dose. Pagpipilian nyo lang dyan, acute saka chronic eh. Excessive single dose. Is it chronic or acute? Ang chronic is gradual deterioration, ha? Ang acute, biglaan. So, ito yun. So, your answer for 165 is acute. Itong chronic kasi, yan yung gradual. Halimbawa, paninigarilyo, that's chronic poisoning. Alcoholism, that's chronic poisoning. Taking of prohibited drugs, that's chronic poisoning of the body. Lalo, smoking naman, Diyos ko po. Okay, 166. Hallucinogenic effect. Alin dyan? Letter? Tingnan natin sagot niyo. Ito, common naman ito. Letter A, THC. Very good. Malapit tayo matapos. Hindi tayo abot na alas 12. Substance that counteracts or neutralizes the effect of poison. Antidote, anti-allergy, antidepressant, antacid. Which is the answer? Okay, A, antidote. Ang antacid, pangontra sa acid yan. Like yung mga Kremil S, ganyan. Antidepressant, syempre, yung mga binibigay sa mga may mga nade-depress. Okay, so antidote. Antagonist. It's also called antagonist. So it is physiological. How about this one? Agents that retard or depress the physiological action of organs or slow down the functioning of the brain. A, sedatives. B, narcotics. C, exhaustives. D, stimulants. Ano sagot dyan? Slow down the functioning of the brain to the extent na makakatulog ka. Nasagot. Letter. Okay. A. A. Sedative. Pampakalma yan. The best specimen submitted for toxicological analysis when the poison was taken orally. Liver, stomach contents, kidney, or brain. Nakain yung poison. Ano isasubmit natin? Ooh. Common sense liver. Ay, stomach, syempre. Stomach contents. Yung bibigay, lalo kung patay na yung tao. Yan. Tsaka vomitus, yung suka. Magaling naman sa stomach yun, di ba? Ayan. 171. The most useful specimen for toxicological analysis in decomposed or exhumed bodies. Yung naagnas na body, ano yung best na specimen dyan? It is the liver. Okay, anong dahilan bakit liver? Because the liver is the biggest or the largest intestinal organ that we have, or internal organs. Intestinal to like internal organs. Okay, liver guys, ang pinaka-best na specimen kasi siya yung pinakamalaki na internal organ sa lahat ng nasa loob ng katawan natin. Number 172. An acid that is a natural component of the stomach that aids in digestion. Okay, lactic acid is gatas, yan galing. Okay, we have hydrochloric acid, or that's the muriatic acid. So, may konting hydrochloric acid ang ating stomach. Kasi siya yung tumutulong para ma-digest natin yung ating mga kinakain. Okay, next, a poisonous substance found in paints, adhesives, solvents, and rugby. Okay. So it is codeine sa cough syrup yan. Ito, it's toluene. Mabango na organic solvent yan. Okay, a bluish or purplish discoloration of the skin due to lack of oxygen in the body. A, cyanosis, B, allergy, C, psoriasis, D, skin asthma. Sagot? Do you have an idea? Letter A, it's cyanosis. Nako, iba-iba kayo ng sagot. Cyanosis is the bluish or purplish discoloration of the skin. Pagka kulang tayo sa oxygen, hindi nare-regulate yung flow ng oxygen sa katawan natin, meron tayong mga pantal-pantal. We call that as cyanosis. Okay, poison secreted by microorganisms. Okay, like yung red tide. Okay, it is called toxin. Hindi siya bacteria, kundi toxin. The specimen submitted for chemical-toxicological examination in mercury poisoning. So mercury poisoning, it is the blood. Is it blood? Mercury, metal. Okay, kidney, I should say. Poison produced from decaying matter and spoiled meat. Okay, so ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo guys kanina. It's the ptomaine. Okay, mga puting uod na naglulundagan na galing sa nabubulok na karne, tawag sa kanya is ptomaine. Poisoning from eating of contaminated canned goods due to improper preservation and canning. So we call it botulism. Okay, pagka kumain tayo ng mga expired na delata, so ang poisoning is botulism. Poisons that are from injection or bite can be removed by what method? A, washing, B, ligature and bleeding, C, applying a tourniquet, D, applying ointment. O tanggalin nyo na yung ointment dyan. Eliminate nyo na si ointment. Which is the answer? Pagkagaling sa limbawa, nakagat ng snake or nakagat ng aso, ano ba ang pwedeng gawin para ma-remove yung poison? Is it washing, ligature and bleeding, and then applying a tourniquet? Ano sagot? Okay, it is letter? Okay, letter. Bakit may letter D ba dyan? Ligature and bleeding, what do you mean by that? Ligature is maglalagay ng konting sugat. No? Ligature is open wounds yan, tapos paduduguin. Kasi best method of removing pagka-applying tourniquet, that is to prevent absorption. So kung gusto mo, halimbawa, nakagat ka ng aso, thus you have to prevent the spreading of that kunyari suspected may rabies yung aso. So to prevent that from spreading throughout the body, ang gagawin is applying tourniquet. So ano yung tourniquet? That is a restricting band which is tied just above the wound. Pero kung process of removing it, it is done by ligature and bleeding. Okay, and then we have a metallic substance used as rat poison. Okay, usually arsenic yan. Okay. Distillation with or without current of steam is the isolation of what kind of poison. So, halimbawa, yung poison na yun ay galing sa, let's say, sa internal organs, and then the forensic examiner will separate this kind of poison. So kung yan ay through distillation process, so it is the volatile kasi madali siyang mag-evaporate. So basta madadaling mag-evaporate na poison, we can use the distillation setup in separating them. Okay, 182. So it is a combination. Pag combi, ng poison of both the chemical and the physical, it's already universal. Pagka more or 2 or more poisons ang gagamutin, so we have to use the universal. Kung kombina ng chemical sa physical, it is called universal poison. A universal antidote, I should say. Oh, this one, gradual deterioration. So, eliminate yun si homicidal sa accidental. Pagpipilian nyo lang acute and chronic. So, chronic ito kasi acute yung kaninang mabilis ang effect ng poison. Anesthesia. So, these are substances used as anesthesia. Chloroform and ether. We have ether and carbon tetrachloride. Letter C, chloroform and carbon tetrachloride. And then we have chloroform and ethyl alcohol. Anong sagot dyan kaya? Okay, so answer is letter C. Okay, last but not the least. Ether kasi hindi naman yan ginagamit as anesthesia, poison yun eh. Carbon tetrachloride yan, pwede pang gawing anesthesia yan. Ethyl alcohol is not used as an anesthesia. Used as a fire extinguisher, ito, carbon tetrachloride. Okay, so tapos na tayo. Meron pa kayong question, but you can just text, you can just chat here. Kung meron. 183 is chronic. Ayan na, chronic. Okay, so tapos na tayo. I hope makakatulong sa inyo itong review natin. Good luck to everyone. Sige, wish you good luck. Birthday ko yung first day nyo. June 12 is my birthday. Yung pala yung nyo, yung board exam nyo. Maalala nyo ako dyan. It's my birthday. Alright, so good luck everyone. May BBMs ara pa talaga. Good luck sa inyong lahat. God bless. Tapos na tayo. Maaga naman tayo natapos. Sonly, ilan kayo nandito? Oh, 100. Ang dami nyo pala, 166. Okay, so good luck everyone. I hope lahat. Ay, mag-review kayo sa nung last na board exam daw, maraming lumabas sa research. Review nyo rin na risk. Pero, syempre, random yan. Baka mamaya mag-iba-iba ang question. Kayo yung last na na old curriculum. Kayo yun, di ba? It will be the last curriculum ng old. Alright, so thank you everyone. God bless. Bye-bye. Oras na, 8:35. 140, 154. Ayan. 140. Ayan, maximum dose. Ayan. 141 intravenous injection. 142 corrosives. Then 143 soluble. Ito, tingnan mo na lang. 144 idiosyncrasy. Letter B. 145 letter B. Hindi ko na nalagyan ng letters yan. 146 is tetanics. Letter C. 147 is letter A, neurotics. 140, saan na tayo? 147, neurotics. 148, narcotics. 149, irritants. Wala na. 85. 85, 80. Indirect method. Letter A. 81 is peroxidase, letter B. Meron pa ba? 180 to 185. Yan. 180A, 181B, 182C, 183C, 184C, 185B. Tapos, 179, 167. 179, letter B. Number 9, layo. Wait lang. Ano pa? 83B, 85, 85. '85 is indirect absorption, indirect or absorption technique na. Letter A. Letter A yung 85. Number 9? Layo. Okay. Ayun, number 9, human. Letter B. Tapos, ang dami. 78, 89. 78. '78 is hemochromogen. Hindi ko palang lagyan yan. 78 is hemochromogen. Para naman sumasagot ko sa inyo. 63. 63 is letter A. 115 to 117. 115. Letter C, 115. Pahinga na daw ako. Tapos, number 116 is letter A. 117 is letter B. Yes, Miss Placido is kasama ko sa ano. Saan school yan? Prof. Placido, nasaan na siya ngayon? Puerto Princesa. Okay. Dean Diosdado. I know. Hindi ko siya kilala si Dean Diosdado Patubo. Western Philippine University. Okay. Regards to her. Regards ko sa kanya. From Osamis City. Okay. Good luck sa inyo lahat. One 19. Occupational task. From Isabela, I'm from Cagayan Valley. Pero stay ako sa dito. I'm from Bulacan. Pero nagtuturo ako sa New Era University, Philippine College of Criminology, Lyceum of Alabang, City College of San Jose del Monte, and Metropolitan Institute of Arts and Sciences, Santiago. Okay, from Cagayan. Graduate ako ng Cagayan State University. Bye-bye! Yes, I am from Cagayan State, Tuguegarao Campus. Pero ang una kong school kasi is Philippine College of Criminology. Ilagan. Okay. Thank you. Good night then.